beautiful sunny day and breezy day here. I'm Denisa, and I am the Area Vice President for Central Florida from Florida Alliance for Retired Americans. And we welcome you as we assemble in the spirit of unity to address an issue that is a major concern to all of us here. It appears that there is going to be a budget showdown in Congress within the next 30+ days. And we are greatly concerned about the potential threats, the potential cuts to three federal programs. We're talking about Social Security, Medicare. Automatic cuts are supposed to take effect at the end of this year, and it will be effective January 2nd, 2013. Now, although Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are not supposed to be included in cuts, these programs are still at risk on an extreme makeover in the form of, they call it structural changes. And that will also reduce the benefits that we have. And Congress has 30+ days between now and December 31st to solve this problem. Social Security does not contribute 1 penny to the budget to the federal deficit of this country. The federal government does not fund Social Security. The American workers funds this program. It is funded directly by payroll contributions, divided equally with the workers and the employees. Before those of us here who are seniors retired, we made contributions through FICA every paycheck to this program. To those of you who are still working, you are making 1/2 of the contributions to this program. Yet, some members of Congress want to make changes to a program that's working effectively. If Congress agrees to push retirement further out of reach, it will be devastating for millions of Americans. Let's tell members of Congress to keep their hands off of our Social Security. But we thank Senator Bill Nelson for supporting this program. Now let's examine Medicare. What are the potential threats to the Medicare program? Medicare is the nation's largest and most successful health insurance system. It serves the needs of almost 40 million seniors and disabled beneficiaries. Care treatment. The position of the Alliance for Retired Americans is to strengthen Medicare and expand the benefits and not to privatize Medicare. The Alliance for Retired Americans also supports sufficient funding because we too want to reduce waste, eliminate waste, and prevent fraud and abuse in the Medicare system. Don't be fooled by politicians. According to the Medical Board of Trustees report, Medicare is solvent for at least 23 more years. It is financially effective. So let's tell the members of Congress to keep their hands off of our Medicare program. But we thank Senator Nelson for his support of our position. The third program that they're planning to cut is Medicaid. What are the potential cuts to Medicaid? As you know, 4.2 million elderly women are on Medicaid. There are 9 million dual eligible seniors, and those with high disability also rely on Medicare as well as Medicaid. Medicaid is also the largest payer of nursing home and home care services. And out of all of the entitlement programs, the one that is most likely to be cut is going to be Medicaid. When you hear politicians say, we need to reform Social Security, we need to reform Medicare or Medicaid, don't be fooled. This is the language that Congress uses when they are recommending cuts to all of these programs. They told us, present seniors, that we would not be affected by any reform that will take place in these three programs. But what about our children? What about our grandchildren? We don't want to place them in a position to be fighting against one generation fighting against the other. We are not in debt because of Social Security. We are not in debt because of Medicare, and we are not in debt because of Medicaid. We are in debt because big corporations have all those tax loopholes, and millionaires and billionaires actually have lower tax rates than a lot of middle-class people right here in Orlando. Yep. Seniors have been balancing budgets for generations, and with the combined budget knowledge and experience that we have, the 40 million seniors that we have, I believe that we can offer the members of Congress a little advice on how they can balance the nation's budget. I have two recommendations, I think, on behalf of all the seniors here and the seniors that we represent in Clara. Number one, the first recommendation, no more tax cuts for the richest 2% of Americans. The Bush tax cut for the richest 2% were a monumental failure. They failed to create jobs, and they were an outrageous waste of money. The Bush tax cuts expired on December 31st, 2012. Without any action from Congress. They don't have to do a thing. Just let it go into the winds. So let's tell the members of Congress, they don't have to raise a finger. Let them extend the tax cuts for 98% of the households that make less than $250,000, and let the tax credits expire for those who are wealthy in the 2% of America. Americans cannot afford any more wasteful tax cuts for the wealthy, which will cost it's going to cost $1 trillion over the next 10 years. And this will be equivalent to a check of $160,000 for every single millionaire in this country. Let's tell Congress to let the income tax rates paid by the richest Americans go back to the level that they were when President Clinton was in office. Tell Congress to protect and not cut these three programs that affect our lives. Let us demand shared responsibility to reduce the deficit, and tell Congress it's time for them to take a vote to ask the richest 2% to pay their fair share. And we can take that money and prevent these cuts they plan to give to Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid. The second recommendation we will offer is to let Senator Nelson and members of Congress know to reduce the budget deficit by voting to pass President Obama's American Jobs Act. We need to focus on jobs and economic security for the 98% instead of lowering tax rates for the 2%. If seniors...
I am one of those seniors that have been retired for a while on Social Security that I depend on, and Medicare that I depend on, because the older you get, the more you have to go visit doctors. And here's the police. Thank you very much.
Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I am a single mother, and earlier this year I became unemployed for a period of time. At that time, we really needed benefits that the government provides, and that included Medicaid. My daughter suffers from scoliosis, and during that time her condition had worsened to the point where she needed a brace. And without Medicaid being there for me, she would not have the brace that she has today that is preventing her condition from worsening. So I really do beg Congress not to make cuts to these programs, because families in need, our survival ultimately depends on these at times, and they're very, very important to us. Thank you.
Going to share with us.
Thank you. I just want to thank Senator Nelson for standing strong with the Alliance for Retired Americans position on no cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And I would ask Senator Rubio to work with us and please support this cause as well. If we really want to move this country forward, we have to come together, and now is the time to step up to the plate. Thank you.
Jenny, we ask our coordinator to come and make remarks.